First and foremost, I want to say thank you to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. If it wasn't for him, this wouldn't be possible. Low Nose Boxing. So you already know what to do. Hit the like button, share the video, feel free to leave a comment, subscribe. Low Nose Boxing. We're going to talk about something different regarding boxing. Al Heyman and PBC, it stated that they're about to leave Showtime. They're about to leave Showtime real soon, sometime in 2024. And they're currently searching for a network. But it's been reported by Barbershop Conversation that they found a network, and that network is Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime. Now, Showtime has always been one of the best networks in boxing. Back in the day, growing up as a kid, I remember it was Showtime, it was HBO, and then you had like lower level fights and stuff like that, like on USA, ESPN, Friday night fights, and like I said, USA Tuesday night fights. That's all throwback. That's all nostalgia, you know. Showtime brought us a lot of fights. 2023, Al Heyman and PBC played a very, very large part in us having such a great year in boxing. They brought us so many great fights this year. Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia, Canelo Alvarez, Charlo, David Benavidez, Caleb Plant. I mean, I can go on and on and on. A lot of great memories with Showtime. But I'm just talking some fantasy talk right now. I wish HBO was back. HBO was the leading network in boxing back in the day, right? When HBO was on top, they were the best. They were the best. Right now, we live in a time where there's too many networks. You know, you got the Zone, you got ESPN, ESPN Plus, which is all in one. Showtime. Showtime had something going with Fox as well. You know, Black Prime. What else I forgot? Thriller. I mean, there's so many different networks out there in boxing, man. I wish it was like back in the days when we just had two networks, right? So we're just talking about fantasy. We already know that Showtime Boxing, PBC, Al Heyman, they might be moving over to Amazon Prime, from what I'm hearing from a very reliable source. And Barbershop Conversation, who recently came out with a video talking about that. But I'm gonna talk about the dark horse, and that's HBO. In a perfect world, to make boxing better, and we were to just have two networks. For me, it would be the Zone. The Zone already has Eddie Hearn's whole stable. The Zone already has Oscar De La Hoya stable with Golden Boy, right? In a perfect world, HBO would be the second network to host boxing, world-class boxing. I'm also hearing that Top Rank and Bob Arum, their contract is expiring soon with ESPN. ESPN has done a remarkable job covering other sports, but with boxing, they're not doing a great job. I mean, the fights are good. The production, the commentary team's been pretty decent, but they're not doing a good job covering the sport. You know, they were doing a decent job when you had Max Kellerman with Max on Boxing Show, but that show's no longer going on anymore. Max Kellerman and Andre Ward are no longer working with ESPN. And, you know, Shakur Stevenson is fighting. Shakur Stevenson is fighting in November. Stephen A. Smith should be doing First Take and having Shakur Stevenson on the show. The only time First Take has a boxer on the show is when it's a largely popular fight, a commercially known fight. Boxing should be covered the same way that other sports are covered. That's why it takes people like us YouTubers, us content creators, people like me, people like Punch Drunk Boxing, H Money Boxing, The Boxing Voice, Rap Star Boxing, Lady Shan. I mean, I could go on and on. Barbershop Conversation. Us YouTubers are the ones that's giving boxing the light that it needs. We're the ones that's that's shining attention on the fighters, you know? I'm all over the place right now. I'm talking about YouTube and all that. But let me get back to HBO. In a perfect world, what I would have is HBO back in boxing. For one, HBO boxing had the best color commentating team. And they had a lot of different faces, different personalities. I remember they had George Foreman, Jim Lampley, Larry Merchant, Roy Jones Jr., George Foreman, if I'm not correct, Andre Ward, Lennox Lewis. They had a great team of broadcasters. So if I was to bring back HBO boxing, and I had to come up with my own dream team for a broadcasting team, it would probably be, can't say Larry Merchant and Jim Lampley. Those guys are already old, they retired. Maybe they can work behind the scenes. But I would bring back Max Kellerman. I'll bring back Paulie Malignaggi. Despite the controversy and all that stuff that follows him, Paulie Malignaggi, to me, hands down, was the best color commentator in boxing. And he wasn't biased. I would bring back Andre Ward as well. And then HBO had the best production at the end of the day. They had the best production at the end of the day. The documentary styles, there's nothing like HBO 24/7. Even to this day, with Showtime making some great episodes with All Access and all that, but it doesn't compare to what HBO did with the narratives, you know, with 24/7. It felt so cinematic. You know, it made you really get into it. And even watching the card, like watching the broadcast, like leading up to the fight, it would give you like a small little documentary, you know, something to build up the fight. If you go on YouTube right now, if you look up Hector Macho Camacho, look up his fights. YouTube, thank God for YouTube. YouTube will bring up the whole telecast, the whole HBO telecast with the broadcast, with the intro, with the boxing documentary in between the fights, all of that, man. We miss all of that. I miss all of that. So, in a perfect world, if HBO boxing were to come back to boxing, I would have it like this. I would have PBC, Al Heyman's whole stable on HBO. Top Rank, assuming that they do not re-up their contract with ESPN, I will have Top Rank as well as a part of HBO. I will have both promotional companies sign off on a contract stating that they have to work with each other regardless. You can still have shows on the side like Boxing After Dark, you know, for smaller cards and stuff like that. And I understand that boxing is usually shown on Saturdays. Shakur Stevenson's upcoming fight with Edwin De Los Santos is going to be on a Thursday. That's something different right there, but I would change the game. I would have Thursday, Friday, and Saturday slots for boxing. Or at least Friday and Saturday slot for boxing, in case PBC is going to have a card. And on that same weekend, Top Rank is going to have a card. They could do it back-to-back, one on Friday, one on Saturday. You know? So the fans don't have to be torn in between what program to watch. Or like I said before, sometimes you can have a card where you got fighters from Top Rank and fighters from PBC on the same card. That would make boxing great again. And then, of course, you got the Zone with Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy, Matchroom, and all that. You will have two entities controlling boxing. Two entities, two networks, where all the boxing will be broadcasted at. That's what I would love, man, in a fantasy world. Anyway, with that being said, I just had to get that off, you know, speak my mind. Everybody's talking about, you know, PBC and Al Heyman going over to Amazon Prime. But in my fantasy world, it will be HBO, man. Bring HBO back in business. And that's pretty much it. With that being said, thank you for listening. Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to my channel, Low Nose Boxing, because Low Nose Boxing. I'm out.